Suffering is optional. That's a bold statement, isn't it? But here's the thing. What if it's true? What if all the pain, frustration, and chaos you experience aren't set in stone, but are choices, even if unconscious ones? Think about it. Most of us go through life on autopilot, blaming circumstances, other people, or even fate for our struggles. But deep down, haven't you ever wondered if there's another way? Now let's get something straight. This isn't about ignoring your pain or pretending life is perfect. No, it's about understanding that suffering, while inevitable, doesn't have to define you. And that's where the teachings of the Buddha come in. Over 2,500 years ago, he laid out a path so profound yet practical that it's still changing lives today. The Four Noble Truths aren't just ancient philosophy. They're a step-by-step guide to breaking free from the chains of suffering and finding peace, even in a world that feels anything but peaceful. So if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or just plain tired of life's constant grind, this is your chance to flip the script. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a fresh perspective and maybe even a few life-changing tools to start building a better, freer version of yourself. Before we dive in, do me a favor. If this resonates with you already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's a small action, but trust me, it helps us keep bringing you content that matters. Now let's explore the Four Noble Truths, starting with a truth that's both universal and deeply personal. Lesson 1. Acknowledge the reality of suffering. Let's face it, life isn't always a bed of roses. We all deal with challenges, disappointments, and struggles that, at times, feel overwhelming. But here's the thing, pretending those challenges don't exist won't make them go away. If anything, denial only makes things worse. That's why the first step to freedom, as the Buddha taught, is to truly acknowledge the reality of suffering. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about being pessimistic or sitting in a corner sulking. No, it's about looking at life with clear eyes. Suffering is everywhere. It's in the frustration of missing a promotion, the heartbreak of losing someone, or even that nagging feeling of not being good enough. It's universal. But here's the twist. By acknowledging suffering, you're not giving it power, you're taking its power away. Think of it like facing a bully. The moment you stop running and stand your ground, they lose their grip on you. Take a moment to think about your own life. What's one thing you've been avoiding? Maybe it's that tough conversation with your partner, or perhaps it's a habit you know is dragging you down. Start small. Write it down. Yes, right now. By naming your struggle, you're already on the path to mastering it. Need some inspiration? Grab a journal and jot down what's been bugging you lately. Not a writer? No problem. Even taking 5 minutes to reflect quietly can make a difference. And here's a practical tip: practice mindfulness. It doesn't require incense or chanting unless you're into that. Just sit in a quiet spot and let your thoughts flow. You'd be surprised how much clarity comes when you allow yourself to just be. Acknowledging suffering isn't about fixing everything overnight. It's about setting the stage for what's next. Because here's the thing, once you see the suffering clearly, you start to see the patterns behind it. And that, my friend, leads us to our next lesson, the root causes of suffering. Trust me, it's about to get real. Lesson 2. Identify the causes of suffering. Alright, now that we've acknowledged suffering, let's dig deeper. What if I told you that most of your suffering doesn't come from the outside world, but from within? Yep, the real culprits are often things like unchecked desires, attachments, and ignorance. Let's break that down, shall we? Desire is tricky. It's not inherently bad. We all want things, right? A better job, a loving relationship, maybe that shiny new gadget. But when desire turns into craving or obsession, it's like signing up for a never-ending chase. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds, when I get that car, when I land that dream job? But here's the catch. Even when you get those things, it's never enough. There's always a new win. Then there's attachment. It's like carrying around a heavy backpack filled with all the things you think you need to be happy. But what happens when life doesn't go as planned? That job you were counting on falls through. The relationship you thought would last forever ends. The truth is, clinging to things that are fleeting only sets you up for disappointment. And ignorance. It's not about being uneducated, it's about misunderstanding life itself. Many of us operate under the illusion that the world owes us happiness, or that things should always go our way. But life, as you've probably figured out, doesn't come with guarantees. The more we resist this truth, the more we suffer. So, how do we break free? Start by identifying what's causing your suffering right now. Is it a goal you're chasing too obsessively? A relationship you're holding on to, even though it's no longer healthy? Or maybe it's a belief that you have to control everything to be happy. Here's a practical exercise. Make a list of things you're overly attached to or desires that feel all-consuming. Be honest with yourself. This is for your eyes only. Then ask yourself, if I let go of this, would I feel lighter? Chances are the answer is yes. Identifying the root causes of suffering is empowering. It's like pulling weeds from a garden. You create space for something better to grow. And speaking of something better, let's talk about what's waiting on the other side of this liberation. Because yes, freedom is possible, and that's what we'll explore next. Lesson 3. Believe in the possibility of liberation. Let's pause for a moment. What if I told you that suffering isn't permanent? That no matter how heavy life feels right now, freedom is not only possible, it's within your reach. Sounds like a bold claim, right? But that's the essence of this lesson. To believe, truly believe, that liberation from suffering isn't just for monks meditating in caves. It's for you. Here's the thing, freedom starts with perspective. Think of suffering as a storm. It's intense, sometimes overwhelming, but it's not forever. The clouds will part, the sun will shine again. But to see that light, you have to trust that it's there. Too often, we trap ourselves in cycles of pain simply because we've convinced ourselves there's no way out. This is just how life is, we say. But is it? Consider this. People throughout history have faced unimaginable hardships yet emerged stronger. Think of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison but refused to let bitterness define him. Or Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who found meaning even in the darkest moments. What they had in common wasn't superhuman strength, it was a belief in something greater. They chose liberation over despair. So, how can you begin to believe in your own liberation? Start by letting go of the idea that your circumstances define you. Yes, life can be tough, but you are tougher. Try this. Reflect on a time when you overcame something you thought you couldn't. Maybe it was getting through a breakup, finding your footing after losing a job, or even just making it through a tough week. That resilience? It's proof of what you're capable of. And here's a practical tip. Create small moments of liberation in your daily life. Overwhelmed by work? Take a 10-minute walk and let your mind breathe. Stuck in negative thoughts? Write down 3 things you're grateful for, even if it's as simple as your morning coffee. Each of these acts is a reminder that you have the power to shift your experience, little by little. Believing in the possibility of liberation isn't about blind optimism. It's about hope grounded in action. Because once you see that freedom is possible, the question becomes, how do you get there? The answer lies in the next step, a clear path to inner peace. Lesson 4. Follow a clear path to inner peace. Alright, here's where the rubber meets the road. We've acknowledged suffering, uncovered its causes, and embraced the possibility of liberation. Now, it's time to talk about the how. Because let's be honest, knowing isn't enough. Inner peace requires action, and thankfully, Buddha left us a roadmap, the Noble Eightfold Path. Think of this path as a toolkit for life. It's not a rigid set of rules, but a practical guide for living with purpose and clarity. The best part? You don't have to tackle everything at once. It's about progress, not perfection. Let's take a closer look at a few of the tools this path offers. First up, right view and right intention. These are about seeing life as it truly is and aligning your actions with your values. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? If kindness, for example, is a core value, are your actions reflecting that? Maybe it's something as simple as being more patient with a coworker or volunteering an hour of your time to help someone in need. These small choices add up. Next, there's right speech, right action, and right livelihood, basically how you show up in the world. Think of them as a moral compass. Are your words uplifting or cutting? Are your actions creating harmony or chaos? And is the work you're doing aligned with your ethics? This isn't about being perfect. It's about striving to leave the world a little better than you found it. Then we have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, the heart of mental discipline. These focus on cultivating a calm, focused mind. Here's an exercise to try. Spend just 5 minutes a day meditating. Not sure where to start? Use a guided meditation app or simply focus on your breath. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to stay present, no matter what life throws your way. But let's keep it real, this path isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice. The beauty of it, though, is that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to peace. It's about embracing the journey, not just chasing the destination. Now, let me leave you with a question. What's one small step you can take today to align your life with this path? Maybe it's as simple as choosing kindness over conflict, or taking a moment to reflect before reacting. Because here's the secret. Peace isn't found, it's built one mindful moment at a time. And speaking of building, let's talk about tools that can help you continue constructing a life of meaning and freedom. Stay with me, it's worth it. Now that we've uncovered the 4 noble truths, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it sit on the shelf like an unread book, or will you take the first step toward transforming your life? The choice is yours, but let me tell you this, every great change starts with a decision. Imagine a life where suffering no longer controls you. A life where you face challenges with clarity, rise above desires that drain your energy, and follow a path that brings you genuine peace. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's not. It's entirely possible if you're willing to take the teachings we've discussed and apply them. So ask yourself, what's holding you back? What's the one thing you can do today to start aligning your life with the wisdom of the Buddha? Maybe it's as simple as pausing for a moment of mindfulness or rethinking how you respond to a difficult situation. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every small step matters. And if you're ready to dive deeper, don't miss out on the Dhammapada. It's a timeless guide filled with insights that go hand in hand with what we've covered today. You can grab it for an incredibly low price on Amazon. Check out the link pinned in the first comment. Seriously, it's one of the best investments you can make for your inner growth. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And hey, while you're here, why not keep the momentum going? Click the card on the screen to explore more teachings that will inspire and challenge you. Thanks for watching, and remember, the path to freedom begins with a single step. What's yours going to be?